what I've got over here. Welcome in, folks. Well, today is going to be part 2 of how to use different types of clear coats for your lures. Well, I have a lure here. It's an old one that someone sent me that they messed up on. So it's kind of like my demo lure for doing different things and stuff like that. What we're going to do today is going to be the BSI, Bob Smith Industries, 30-minute slow cure epoxy. I will say that with any of these clear coats, I don't think I said in the first video, but I'm not sponsored by nobody. All this comes out of my own pocket, comes out of my own research. So don't think I'm being sponsored by none of these names and stuff. I'm wanting you to know what products exactly I'm using. We use the 30-minute slow cure epoxy because that is the only one, from my knowledge, that BSI says is waterproof. Well, if you're going to use it on a lure, obviously you want it waterproof. It's also chemical and solvent resistant once it's cured. Now, 30 minutes, that is kind of the maximum. That's not your full working time. You'll only get a couple of lures at best. This is more of a one lure at a time. You'll make just a small batch, do one lure. You might get 2, but my experience, especially with like a 110 jerkbait, I only get 1 lure. Now, I do not recommend and highly am against doing anything to reduce these down to make them thinner, because BSI is it's an adhesive epoxy. It's a gluing epoxy. It's not a pouring or a molding or nothing like that. There's different types of epoxies. But even though it's an adhesive, it works really good as a clear coat. It's really easy to mess with. It's what I highly recommend to anyone starting out because it's very user friendly. Just a couple little things you need to do and to pay attention to as you're doing it. First things first is if you're in a hot environment, you can get like a plastic plate. I recommend a metal plate of some kind. Something that, cheap and inexpensive to throw away, or you can use acetone to clean it up, but you need to do it like really quickly after you're done. I normally don't do that because I haven't had very many issues, but that will extend the working time on it. Now, the first bit of this video is going to be me telling you about this, and then I'll show you how to use this. So if y'all want to fast forward, go right ahead, and you can see how I apply it. But the BSI, the way it cures is through thermal curing. So when it mixes together, it gets hot. And that's why you can't mix a big batch. The bigger the batch, the hotter it's going to get. So the faster it's going to cure out. And the faster it's going to get unusable. So you need to work with small batches to help keep the temperature down so it doesn't cure as fast. And if you use a metal plate or tin foil or something like that, it has, once you get it mixed up, it has time, it can spread out. And I actually learned this from rod builders. This is what they do a lot of times with their epoxy to help extend their working time. But by spreading out thinner, it stays cooler, so it doesn't kick or it doesn't cure as fast. Now, you still only have a limited window to be able to work with this. It will start getting thick, and once it starts getting thick, there's very little you can do about it at that time. So That's why I recommend everyone start out doing one lure at a time. Once you get used to it, see if you can get to 2 lures at a time. But there is obviously a maximum distance you're going to be able to carry this. Also, having a hair dryer with a hot setting, or like I have a heating tool. You can get these anywhere. They use these a lot in, I think like O'Reilly's and stuff like that. For you'll get in there and you're asking for a heating tool for shrink tubing, and that's what these do. And I'll show you how to use this and how to utilize the heat. Alright, so first things first, we need to get set up here. I've already cleaned the lure. I actually sanded on it and everything. And let me try and, well, looks like y'all might be able to see it pretty good. Let me zoom in a little here. Get the camera. If you hear a baby in the background, that's my grandson. My oldest is in this week, and get to see our grandson, and him and his wife. Now, like I said, I don't normally use a metal plate or anything like that. Just because I always just stuck with, or when I use BSI, I stick with doing one at a time. It's the easiest process to go at. Now, these do have to be done 1-to-1 by volume, not by weight. That is according to BSI, and I have weighed these. They are 2 different weights per side at equal volume. Now, you can do the math and you can do the research and the time and figure out per volume what each one's weight is if you want to go that far with it. But these are very user friendly. They do not have to be exact as far as by volume. As you can see, I've used them all the way down to this far, and both of them are at the same line. It's very easy. So, we'll just assume this bait's been painted. The paint has set overnight to make sure it's dried out and cured. And it's ready for clear coat now. So first thing you want to do, you want to get you a good brush that doesn't have a bunch of loose bristles. I do recommend, you can get these on Amazon. These are just little hobby brushes. Or you can use, let's see if I can find one here. Or you can use these little plastic brushes. The ones I do not recommend are what's called an acid brush. I think they have other names, but I do not recommend these because that crimp that holds these bristles in here doesn't always hold very well. And as you're brushing this on, some of the bristles can actually slide out and get in your clear coat. So that's a major deal. The crimp on them is not meant for thicker stuff. So take your caps off, make sure to set them to the side. Now turn them up evenly. And now these are really low, so it'll take a second. But just let it pour itself down to the tip. I'm not squeezing the bottles. And if this has more volume in it, as the liquid comes down, wait a little bit and you'll see a little air bubble come up. You want to make sure that air bubble comes out from where it fills the cap. Now, like I said, these are low enough you don't have to worry about it. Alright, now we're going to put 2 equal sized dots right next to each other. Just like that. Now make sure you put the right cap back on the right one. You do not want to intermix them caps. And you'll start just mixing this together. You ain't got to worry so much about getting bubbles in it while you're mixing. Some people do, and that's fine. But you don't have to worry about it, because when you're brushing on an epoxy, you're already eliminating the whole purpose of not having bubbles in the initial mix. Because the air in the bristles, when you dip it in here, will create bubbles. So you don't have to worry so much about not getting bubbles or how many micro bubbles. And micro bubbles, for those who don't know, is what causes that fogginess. And you'll see them pop and they'll go away and they go clear. But that's already created from the bristles. And I just use the back of the brush I'm using and then wipe it off. And the reason I say these type of brushes, these cheap brushes, because throw them away when you're done. Don't try and save them. Alright, now what we're going to do is I use a pair of modified hemostats. But you can hold these with anything that will hold onto the line tie. But I have a pair of hemostats that I've actually cut off short because they have a lot better gripping power down here low. And I'll get it gripped up like this. Alright. Now we'll just take and get some of that epoxy on here. I will start in the trouble areas, which is going to be around your eyes and your gills. Don't work it too much, but work it back and forth to get all the edges and all the little molded lines and everything that's in there. Now with a brush on epoxy, I do not do the bills. The reason being is this stuff's fairly thick. And if you get a big thick build on the bill, it can actually change the action of the bill, make it not work properly. It could make it super heavy, and it being really thick, it could get lumped up in a dome, which would make it not work at all. So just work your way around the edge of your painted area. You don't want to constantly brush this. You just want to get it on there and smoothed out. I might have to make a little bit more. It's been a while since I've used BSI, so I'm thinking I got enough on there, but I don't know. If I gotta make up more, it ain't no big deal. It can be done. Now just try and do nice, even, long strokes as much as possible. Yeah, I'll have to make up more. So like I said, it's not a big deal. As always, I don't cut or edit my videos, so if I make an oopsie, y'all get to see it. So now y'all get to see, okay, I didn't make enough. Well, you still have a little bit of work time. And yeah, I'm going to mix it right on top of the old mix. For what happened is I didn't make big enough dollops or dots. You want about 2 dime-size dots. And I wipe them off on clean spots of the tape, don't worry. But you want about 2 dime-sized dots. So this will be plenty to finish this lure out. But usually 2 dime size, maybe a little bit larger for a 110, will finish up the lure for you from start to finish. Again, like I said, it's been a while since I've used it, so I'm not very good at eyeballing the size that I need for one lure anymore. But this is an educational video. If I'm going to make a mistake, I'd rather do it now. That way y'all can learn as we go. Alright, you see I'm not worrying about the bubbles. Spread it on nice and even. Make sure you get all the little trouble areas. Don't forget the back of the lure. A lot of people with clear coat, they forget that very tail section. Is it critical? No, but you want it sealed. And so I'm just brushing it through there. Nice even strokes. Now I'm going to go over this whole thing. And I said the trouble spots where you're going to get voids are going to be around gilling areas and around your line ties or your hook hangers. Go ahead and shove you a little bit up in there. That's the spots where you're going to get missed areas. And you're going to think you brushed over it, but you'll missed it. Been there, done it. And so I'm just brushing back over the whole thing to make sure it's spread out evenly. I don't like doing big, thick coats. All right, now that we got to this point, it is fairly uneven here and there. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our, whether it's a hairdryer or a heating tool. Okay, she's warm. And we're just going to run it over it. Do not stay in one spot. Slowly rotate it. And I rotated about twice. And what that does is just warms it up, and any brush marks or brush streaks or little bitty lumps that are from high build, you got more in one area than you do another, is it just warms it up and allows it to flatten out. It doesn't necessarily make it flow, so don't think you can build up this side and bring it around here. That's why I come back over it. I made sure everything was a nice even single stroke. And then, so that one is technically done. So now I'll just take that. And that's what I do. I put on a set of helping hands and I let it do its thing. Now BSI does have a 6 to 8 hour cure time. So in 6 to 8 hour handling time. So in 6 to 8 hours you can handle this and shouldn't have any issues. Now that also depends on temperature and stuff like that. So before you just go up and grab it, touch it like the tail or something, make sure it's not sticky. Now it does have at least a 24-hour cure time. So you shouldn't use this lure for at least 24 hours. I would give it 24 to 48 hours before I touched it. Or before I put hooks and used it and everything else. Just to make sure it's cured out, it's good and tough. And like I said, as you just saw, this is a very user-friendly clear coat. It's my backup clear coat. That's why I still have these bottles. This is a backup clear coat for me, and I use the Tamco 9500 automotive clear coat. But this is how I do it. Very simple, very straightforward. Now you kind of understand and see as to why I recommend this for new painters, new lure makers, and stuff like that, just beginners. It's simple, but you have to make sure the BSI 30-minute slow cure. Other epoxies in the BSI line will work, but that one specifically, it says on their website that it is waterproof. So I mean, it's a lure, it's underwater. You're going to want that. And it works really good. Once it dries, it holds it shines just as well once it dries. I mean, I know y'all probably can't see that too well, but that is a very shiny lure. You saw how scuffed up and everything it was. And like I said, you ain't gotta worry about it. You can hang it, you can set it. I mean, I got an odd angle. I'm not worried about it running down. It's a nice thin coat. This stuff grabs really well. Just always remember, do not reduce it. Mix it evenly by volume. Once you get it mixed up, do two, at least for one lure this size, do at least a dime-sized dot of each type and mix that together. Don't worry about bubbles. I mean, you didn't see me worry about bubbles at all. There's no bubbles. Make sure to hit your trouble spots, which is going to be anywhere where you have heavy molding or ledges and ridges and deep end cuts, and around your line ties and your hook hangers. I do not recommend to do the bill with BSI, not because BSI will hurt it or anything like that, because it won't, but it could get thick, it could get a dome to it. There's a lot of things that it could do that could negatively impact the action of the bill, so I do not recommend to do that. But this is section 2, or part 2 of the clear coat. We'll call it the clear coat trail. There we go. The next one I'll be doing will probably be a 2-part flow epoxy or pouring epoxy that requires a rotisserie turner. And it will probably be the same type that my wife uses on her tumblers, because I don't have what I used to use anymore. And what I used to use, they changed their formula, and it's because my wife was using it on her tumblers, and it just started causing some major issues. So I'm not going to get that no more. So I'm going to use what she's using. But all that 2-part pouring epoxy or clearing epoxy, it will all act about the same. But that will be the next video. If y'all have any questions, feel free to message me on here. Let me know if you have any questions. I read all the comments, and I will get right back with you as soon as I see it. And I'll try and answer or address your question. If you have any comments or input, please put it in the comments as well. I would appreciate if y'all like these type of videos I've been doing to like and subscribe, and to comment. It all helps. And hit the little bell notification so you can see when I put videos up. And so that's it. A good, short, simple one. As you see, this is why I recommend it. It's real simple, real easy to use, not a whole lot of setup. But I'm going to get off here, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. This is Sunday morning. So I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.